This video will teach you how you can use ChatGPT to make your everyday work easier as a programmer. So first we'll start with the learning part. As a programmer, you have to continuously learn new packages, frameworks, and technologies, and it's going to be overwhelming to learn everything from scratch. To ease this, ChatGPT is going to be like your elder brother, one who knows all those libraries beforehand and can guide your way to learning them a lot more easier. It can help you write the correct syntax for a function or explain to you the input that a particular function expects and what output it gives out. More importantly, since it has been trained on so much code, it knows a lot of new packages and libraries which you might not be aware of. So for example, you ask it to code something and it uses a new library. Now, even you can use that new library and learn about it. Now, the other way that ChatGPT can help you is by debugging your code. Sometimes it happens that you write some code and you get some error and you are unable to fix that error. You can definitely go to Stack Overflow, but sometimes there are certain errors for which the solutions are not available on Stack Overflow. In these cases, since ChatGPT most likely has access to the documentation of the concerned function, it will be able to help you with the error. I think this is the most important component of ChatGPT when it comes to coding. It can save you hours of Google search for finding the correct answer to your bug. It can also help you with logical errors. Let's say you wrote some code and the code compiles perfectly well. However, when you run the code, you see you get all the wrong outputs. Now, if you have written a long code, then it is very difficult to go through each and every line and try to figure out where the mistake is. ChatGPT can help you with this. And if you just copy a long code on a notepad and add the input and expected output, then you can ask where the mistake is from ChatGPT. It can easily point out where the mistake is and even then rectify it for you. After that, it can also help you understand someone else's code. So let's say you're following someone else's blog post and you do not understand a snippet of code that has been written there. So what do is that you go and copy that particular code and then paste it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to explain it to you. There is so much code on GitHub, but still most programmers have to write their own code even when they are allowed to copy it. And the reason for that is just not enough to write a working code, but you also have to understand it to be able to make changes to it. And this is the gap that ChatGPT aims to fill. Next, it can also help you with edge cases and unit tests. So let's say you're practicing for some coding interview or you're writing some code for your own company. It is very important that you take care of the edge cases. ChatGPT can help you with this also. You can just go and give your code to ChatGPT and ask it for the edge cases. In fact, it can also run those edge cases on your code without the need for a code interpreter. You can also write unit tests for your code that have to be written to ensure that there are no bugs. Next, you can also use it to write some boilerplate code. If you do natural language processing, then I'm sure that you have to write the boring text pre-processing functions like removing punctuations or stemming or removing digits. These types of code are repetitive but simple. And now you can instead use ChatGPT to write it for you instead of you writing it. This will save you both time and effort. And lastly, you can also use ChatGPT to write better code. There's always something that we can do to improve our code, whether it's writing a composite function or reusing a part of code by converting it into a function or anything like that. If you give the final code to ChatGPT and ask it to beautify it and to make it more concise, it can do that for you. This will help you write more logic in less lines of code and make your code easier to read. You can also use ChatGPT to write the summary of your code. This is going to help you immensely if you're going to write a report for your code. But however, with all those benefits that ChatGPT brings, there are certain downsides too. Number one, it can make you lazy or may even hinder your learning process. Coding is something that takes time and patience, and you have to fight through the errors. If you have something like ChatGPT on your side, you will not struggle with the errors and problems, and this is going to hurt your progress in the long run. Second, do not use ChatGPT to write an entire code base. Creating small snippets of code using AI is cool, but coding an entire project of many files is just going to confuse you. Free and open source code has been available on GitHub for years, but still programmers have to write it from scratch, as I said earlier. The reason for that, it's not enough to write the entire project and then somehow do not understand how to change it. You need to be able to understand it to make changes. And at the end, we all know how difficult it is to understand someone else's code. So I would suggest do not use ChatGPT for writing a lot of code. And the last mistake that programmers tend to make with ChatGPT is that they believe that the code written by ChatGPT is totally correct. The worst part about ChatGPT is that it gives wrong information with full confidence, meaning to say that you will spend all your time finding the smallest bug in the code that has been generated by ChatGPT, even when it claims that the code is 100% correct.